Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download. This episode of the Dale Jr. Download is brought to you by Safety Culture. We're going to talk a lot with my friend TJ Majors and Travis about the race at Talladega. We've got Ask Jr. We got a lot of fun things going on, and it's going to be a hell of a show. Let's get going. The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download. It is Tuesday. Dirty Air time with my buddy TJ Majors. And TJ, there's a lot of going on.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about.
A lot of being talked.
We have a guest dumb on the show today. And looking forward to talking to dumb about his race win. So that should be pretty cool. He'll come in later. But we got a lot to get to. First off, man, I want to open the floor up to you. All right? Before I do that, I want to make sure everybody knows this episode of the Dale Jr. Download is brought to you by Safety Culture. And this is probably good that this episode is brought to you by Safety Culture.
True.
The workplace operations tool giving teams from the racetrack to the factory floor what they need to get the job done quicker and improve every day. That's who is bringing you this episode of the Dale Jr. Download. Safety Culture. I just like saying that. So, TJ, we have already cycled. Remember, everybody sees my helmet here on this.
Oh, yeah, we see it.
Yeah. So that was from me winning the national championship in our NCAA College Football League on Xbox, which Travis has now joined as Miami. Gonna do a Miami rebuild. That'll be tough.
He doesn't need to rebuild him, though.
I know, that's a joke. So he just jumped on the wagon of a great team.
I didn't know that they were going to be good. This is not on me.
Wait, it's Miami.
Are they ever not?
Okay, but what year?
You're not taking Buffalo.
But what year are you in the dynasty?
It ain't Jackson
30.
State.
Wyoming's good. Charlotte's good. Like
I know it took
Stanford's good. So how do I know that Miami is still good?
Well, all right, whatever, man.
Yeah,
you're taking a huge risk, aren't you?
He knows. He knows the lines and stuff.
Yeah.
So
anyhow, we've already in the short time that since I celebrated my big championship, we've already cycled through another season. And this year's winner, this year's champion, is TJ Majors with Michigan.
Again,
he is. I think it's 4, 5.
That's 5.
5. And so
I know it's hard to lose count when you get that
he
many.
He beat Charlotte. He did beat Charlotte. Beat me in the semifinals before he went to the finals against Texas State, which is
Dominic Corelli,
which is Rick's son. A lot of cool people in this league. But congratulations, TJ. Hey, we had a tough game. You played great. Kudos to you, man. You did a good job. You're tough to beat. It's fun to brag when you do get beat because it's hard to do. And so we went off the rails last time when Charlotte won the national championship because it's tough to do. Tough to beat you, man. So I just want to give you some credit. We give you a hard time. He's the commissioner of the league, handles all of the –
Some would say dictator.
Yeah, he is. He's tough on. I mean, there's some things that I wish we did differently, but it's like NASCAR. You know, you can't. NASCAR's going to NASCAR. They're going to do what they're going to do. TJ's going to TJ.
That's right.
And
that
so,
should be a shirt.
Yeah. And so anyhow,
like
hey, I want to open the floor up to you, man. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't need to brag too much about it. I think you said enough there. It's just fun either way. Win or lose, most of my games against you have been pretty fun.
Obviously, I want to get into what the All-Star race conversation, the run what you brung. It's interesting. Denny said it would cost teams $2 million to run a run what you brung race. That's overstating it. I think it would cost the team some money for sure, but not $2 million. I just don't believe it. I think that is just an excuse. I think that's just like a heavy excuse to say, yeah, this is why I didn't want to do it. And I think he's inflating the cost of it.
How much do you think a car costs?
I think he's overstating the cost to make a point. Will it cost money? Is it? He's already mad about the damn purse being $1 million for 30 years. He's said that over and over, and that's fine. That's a great argument. I think that race should pay $3 million to the winner. It should. The purse absolutely is a reasonable argument. He's got a valid point. The cost that it would take for these teams to do a run what you brung. If you listen, Denny had a great show. I text him, compliment him. Good show. It was fun listening to him. If you haven't heard Actions Detrimental, he goes into detail about how the restrictor plate racing and and I call it restrictor plate racing. I know we don't run them anymore, but that's what we call it. We don't call it.
We still consider it.
This drafting track. And I saw that tweet from Dirty Mo Media. We call it restrictor plate racing. That's what it's called. Just because there ain't no more restrictor plates don't mean we need to change what it is, what it's called. It's been called that for years. We don't need to change.
But it's not restrictor plate.
It sure is. It's what it's always been.
Why isn't it?
Why isn't it? Why do you got to change what it is because we don't have plates anymore?
I mean, we call it plate races.
Plate races. That's what it's called. It's what's been called. Now new generation wants to come in. These little young punks want to come in here and change because, well, we don't have plates anymore. We don't have restrictor plates. We should probably call it something else.
Yeah,
really,
it's a super speedway.
Drafting tracks, yes. I mean, if by definition, then you got to throw Michigan in there and a couple others because there's drafting at those as well.
Okay, Dalton, make sure for Michigan we use drafting too.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
Hey, so look, Denny had a great show. He talked a lot about the struggle with. Everybody was like, oh, we're going to get to this, but he's like, everybody was like, man, why didn't nobody try at the end of that race at Talladega? Well, he explains why you can't get out of line. And so, and I totally agree with that. Like the guy in the second, third, and fourth row, if they pull out of line, they are going to the back. There's so much drag on that car. As soon as you get out in clean air, everybody's going to go, well, that was a dumbass move, and they're just going to send your ass to the back.
The only way make a move is if you have help behind you for sure.
And coming down to 2-1 to go, your ass ain't willing to take that chance.
No.
Because you don't know 100% whether that guy behind you is going to go with you or not.
Yeah. As soon as the outside lane of, like, if you're second car on the outside and you pull out and go to the third lane, the inside lane's going to move forward, and they're going to clear you, and the guy's going to get control of the race. So it's really a lose-lose.
Yeah. So he had a great show talking all about that, man. I thought that was such great insight and helping us understand why the races at Daytona and Talladega look the way they look. And then, he also goes into some good detail about this All-Star race, Run What You Brung. Now, is the fact that we're not going to have a Run What You Brung such a big deal? I don't know. I thought it'd been kind of neat to open the rules up a little bit, and that was Denny's point that I really, really liked. I'm giving him a hard time, but because I think he's overstating how much cost this would be for the teams. But one of his ideas was, why didn't NASCAR just say this particular part of the car is free game? This particular part of the car is free game. That might have been a way, and maybe they did. Maybe they had this conversation, but Denny was saying, if they would have came to us and said, we're going to open this part of the car up a little bit, we'll open this part of the car up a little bit, that might have been something they'd entertain. And, man, that would have kind of – I look at this All-Star race as there's – in my mind, the All-Star race is still incredibly important.
It's a big event.
There is, I hate to say it, social media and especially Twitter – is just a small, tiny part of the conversation. Like, it's not everything being said about anything on social media has to be measured because it's just a very small part of the entire conversation going on. So I try not to get too wrapped up in opinions and certain things that are getting said on there about our sport. But there's some people that think, oh, man, this race is not important. This race is, maybe this race needs to go away entirely. I'm like, why are we doing that? Why are we even having, why is that even a conversation? Why don't we just fix it? Why don't we just fix it? It's the All-Star race is an awesome opportunity for us to try to learn something. And for NASCAR, for the teams, for everyone not to look at it as a place to discover and give a few ideas some real testing, that's what this race should be about. There's no points on the line. I'm not enough of an engineer. I'm not a crew chief. I'm not smart enough, don't know enough about this car to sit here in front of you and say, well, they should try this, they should try this, they should try this. But there are some people that do have some great ideas. And I think that this is the race to throw some of that stuff out on the racetrack.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think you open it up to I don't know, like, if Run What You Brung is enough to leave it open to the teams, but it's definitely a good
That's right.
test session for at least NASCAR to try some stuff with, hey guys, we're going to come there with this package. We want to see how you guys race with it and see what happens.
That's right. So I wonder if there was even a conversation about like a true, like, was it really like, hey, NASCAR sat down and said, run what you brung. We're not even going to tech a thing. No tech. I mean, I don't know that was really probably what was.
I doubt it.
What was presented.
I think Denny is exaggerating how much it would cost, but
Even if he is, though, let's say it's $1 million.
Here comes Denny, bro.
Even if it is, let's say it's $1 million. Is that not? Why should a team have to front that bill?
Yeah. Well, it's a race, and this is the way I feel about that. It's a race that you're going to spend money to go to, just like you do any other. If the governing body presents a set of rules or a rule change or any kind of a alteration to the standard, you show up and you race. If you don't want to, don't. Right? But you got obligations, partners, sponsors. You're going to have to do it. $1 million is too much to ask any team to put forward to go run any single event.
What does building a one car cost, you think?
Well, Denny has said that a complete car is $350,000-$450,000. When all said and done.
So if they say you can build a car for this, and you go and they say, "Hey, it's run what you're brung," you're modifying the chassis. You're basically building a car that you're never going to be able to race again.
Correct.
That's not what I think would be happening. So NASCAR gives you the center section, the front clip, the rear clip. You bolt it all on, and then you get all of the suspension stuff, and you bolt all that on. It's all ready. The hub's packed. Everything's ready. You get the whole assembly all put together already, and you can't take it apart. So NASCAR wasn't going to allow them to cut on the chassis and chop chassis up and start, creating a car that they'd never be able to with again.
But even any modifications to that ruins
They're
that chassis.
not going to let them.
But that's like what people are pushing for. Run what you brung. If you say run what you brung.
So in my mind, I think there are some parameters on the actual setup of the car, springs and shocks and stuff like that. Listen, I don't know what run what you brung means when this is a hit car and there's really not a whole lot you can do to it.
Yeah.
But Denny talked about how, well, if you were just like, hey, put the body on how you want, then they're going to have to make some new mounts and so forth, and he's got to go to Big Brother over at Gibbs and ask for them to make him some mounts for his team and all that, and it's a complicated issue. But
and don't forget, not every team anymore has a fab shop.
I agree. My point, my thought about this is like the run to present it as. I don't think this is what I just can't believe that NASCAR sat down and said, "Yeah, we're gonna do a run what you brung. Just figure it out." If they did, that wasn't a good delivery. That's absolutely everybody's going to shut that down. Any team. If they said that to the Xfinity Series, hey, we're going to have a run what you brung race, we'd all push back on that. That's absolutely not what they should have done or should be doing. But what they should do is look at this race as an opportunity to try something to fix the short track package. And there's a lot of great ideas, and I would listen to the drivers and the teams about some big chunk items that they think they could really get away with trying that wouldn't be too costly to give this a go.
Yeah.
It is so foolish for us to go knowing that the short track package is not good and that this car needs some real attention. It's foolish for us to go to Wilkesboro for this all-star race and not change anything. You keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same result. And so exhibitions tend to have, some differences in any other sport, right? When you have an exhibition, they're looser. They tend to have some sort of a, gimmick or something unique, fun, different. Any other all-star game in any other sport, they do all kinds of fun things every year. They change it up. And I know they do that as well with the format of the race and so forth. And we've got
we look for something exciting every year, kind of. But
this is a great chance for us to really give this, kick this car in the ass and turn it upside down and change a few things that, the teams and the team. I think the teams in NASCAR could have got on board with a few big ticket items that might have made a difference. I know that they've taken this car to Richmond and other places and tested their ass off with all kinds of different diffusers and spoilers and all kinds of stuff. But it was 2 or 3 cars, 4 cars on the racetrack. The drivers would get out and say, I can't feel a thing. That changed nothing. But here we are about to be able to throw them into a full-on race experience where we could truly see what some of this might do when there's 25, 30, 40 cars on the racetrack. So anyhow, I'm still bullish or positive about this race because, and I know we talked about this, the race itself I think is still going to be pretty interesting because of the racetrack and how the racetrack may be changing. And if you watched the race there last year, the way that when they repaved this, man, I thought it was going to be all on the bottom at Wilkesboro.
For sure. It surprised me.
Yeah, they ran the wall in 1 and 2. It's wild. But so I'm still sort of interested enough about the racetrack and its rebirth.
You know what made it look really good is when they started the first year we went back there, they started the race on rain tires.
Yeah, I know.
And the cars were kind of up on the track, moving around a little bit.
Yeah.
And the drivers they just had their hands full, like driving. They were actually driving the car harder, finessing and stuff.
Well, I just disappointed that I was disappointed overall, and I think this might be the whole gut feeling for a guy like Jeff Gluck, who had a hell of a rant on the teardown.
Angry.
Yeah, so I guess Jeff is probably feeling the same way, and I bet you deep down Denny and everyone else has the same feeling. NASCAR finally sat down at the table and said, we'll just do something. We'll put it in your hand. Here, do what you want. For probably the last 3 or 4 years, there's been no real change to address how the car races at Talladega and Daytona, and the fuel mileage, fuel saving, and all that stuff. Even though this race seemed to be a little bit more favorable or positive or well accepted by some people in the industry or some of the fans. It's still, we still have some things that are happening at Daytona and Talladega that produce racing that I don't think we all want to watch. So it feels like NASCAR has, their feet stuck in the mud in terms of moving forward and trying to do anything about that. And the car doesn't race well at short tracks. And again, it feels like that there's zero movement on trying to make that different.
Yeah, this is a big test.
And here we were with NASCAR basically going, here, y'all want to with it? With it. Here's your chance, and we ain't gonna get that. So that might have been if Denny could have been the savior and taken them. And if NASCAR really put the ball in the team's courts in terms of run what you brung in that conversation, Denny could have went, why don't we, he could have presented these ideas that he presented on the show to NASCAR and said, instead of that, maybe we just open this spot up and y'all do, let us do this. How about that? And then go to the racetrack and see what we get. Damn it. I think everybody's feeling about this isn't so much, why didn't they just do it, run what you brung? It's more like we had a chance to really do something different and we're not going to get to do it. And it just feels like a missed opportunity because as slow as moves in this sport in terms of change and improving things that need improving, it's slow. And here was a chance to really try to, give some ideas some merit out on the racetrack, TJ.
I agree that I don't think you can do the run what you brung, just straight up everything. But Denny, I agree with there are parts and maybe there are some great ideas from people that know these things really well that could come up with that we could try and we could be working in that area. Maybe we go and find something that's just a quick fix for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not very expensive and we don't need an all-new car. It's just a quick fix.
Yep.
And we're in the right direction. Next time we try something else.
It's not that simple, though. I know I just put it on Denny, like, why didn't you just go to NASCAR and say, hey, how about instead of running what you brung, we dial it back a bit and just have a couple of open areas. It's so complicated
Yeah, we're not going to tech these areas this weekend, guys. Go ahead and do what you want there.
Yeah, that whole conversation would have probably been complicated. It's just frustrating, I guess, how difficult it is to like get something changed. I'll tell you what, I got a solution.
Oh, you got a solution.
I mean, this all-star race is it's an exhibition, no points. And I know that, and this will never happen, but for the last handful of years, there's been some conversation. When the All-Star race was at Bristol a couple years ago before Wilkesboro came back, there was some calls and conversation going on around getting Jeff Gordon, myself, and some other drivers into the All-Star race. Jimmy and different, and we were going to, how much would it, how much would it cost? What would we need? What would we demand, or all that? So there was a real conversation. That didn't go any farther than that. But there's been, and the fans will say, man, in that All-Star race, I wish, you could, Harvick and all these other drivers could come back and run it. The way for that to happen, and that would be more financially reasonable, is to run a cheaper car. And so, there's all kinds of different options for that, but I think the late model stock is not a terrible idea. This is way out there in left field, never going to happen. But for a team to, there's plentiful teams out there that have late model stock cars, and you could field the entire All-Star. You could field cars for the entire All-Star event for all the current Cup guys. You could basically just leave the next gen at the house. Everybody shows up and we race late model stock cars, and then you could have, a real conversation around, getting a Jeff Gordon, or maybe not Jeff because he probably wouldn't do it either way, but you could probably then turn it into the true exhibition you want it to be, and more of a celebration of our sport, and those cars, put on a hell of a race. Goodyear could fire up its old bias ply short track tire machine and make a few tires. I know where it's at, and I know it's sitting there ready to go. Whenever they're ready to do some more short track tires, they could fire them up and do them right away. NASCAR probably wouldn't want Hoosiers out there because they don't have a Hoosier deal, and Goodyear's the exclusive tire manufacturer. So there's some hurdles for sure, but that car is, for the teams to, even if the teams wanted to rent from a current team that had one and get the car and put some work into it, we're talking under $50,000 probably to go run that race. Well, south of that. The Cup teams would find a way to make it expensive.
So does that open the door for like a preliminary event like the Open, where you can have? Would you allow the local, if they entered a local late model guy? Could he run?
Yeah, you could you could have all kinds of races happening. We have the Car Shore race that week, but so that tells you like the weekend has enough room in it to where you could have like a true short track feature on a Thursday or a Friday night that was very much what the Martinsville late model stock race is, and you take the top, the winner out of that race, and he gets to run the All-Star race with the Cup guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is there a way to bring a guy?
There's all kinds of ways.
Does that open the door? That could be a huge event.
Yeah, it would be pretty.
I don't hate the idea of seeing all these guys race them type of cars.
The idea of them driving those cars isn't too unrealistic, because when you hear people online, they're like, oh man, the Xfinity car is the car. Why don't they just race the Xfinity car at the short tracks? Just leave the next gen to the 1.5 miles and race the Xfinity car to short tracks.
Is an Xfinity car too expensive to do this with?
It's probably, if you're gonna change the car entirely, I would as an owner, I would probably choose the late model car because it's cheaper, way cheaper than an Xfinity car.
Gotcha.
And
definitely cheaper than an Xfinity
way
car.
Cheaper.
But
and again, when you give this idea to a Cup team, they are going to make it. They're going to find a way to spend a ton of money doing it, and I think they would not inflate the expense and costs on racing a true short track car. It could be a pro late or a super late, whatever. I'm not, I know I'm favorable to the late model stock car, but if you said, hey guys, for this event, NASCAR's trying to find ways to reconnect itself to the grassroots level. Great opportunity. Put all of our greatest guys, the best racers in the world, in a grassroots car for that event.
So if they did that, would you run it?
Hell yeah. If they called me and said I could do it, former winners or whatever, however I would be eligible.
Well, say you had to qualify and
be there,
would you still run it? If you had to run like the Open?
Yes. That would be one of the races I'd probably absolutely sign up for.
That'd be interesting.
But I would not be interested in going and driving a next-gen car. No. And
Yeah,
that was the holdup for me to go out there and run a next-gen car. They're running those things every week. I'm at a huge disadvantage showing up there trying to race with them and be competitive. I'm probably not going to get a competitive car because I don't, they're just not going to build me, no matter who it is, Hendrick or anybody. They're not. I don't think they'd build me a car with as much emphasis that Larson and all those other guys are going to have, and I'm going to need it.
Yeah, it'd be way too much.
Yeah.
$2 million.
It would just, oh man, it wouldn't be fun for me. It wouldn't be a fun experience. People are like, oh man, we'd love to see you go run one more cup race, but
I don't think
it would be that fun for me.
I don't think any cup driver now, like if you want to bring some of them guys back, they're not going to look at this car and be like, yeah, I'm going to go back. You're this too far removed from that type of car.
You know what's important to the race teams? It's having a data-driven approach to their processes at the shop. It matters to us here at Junior Motorsports and over at Trackhouse as well. Justin Marks has been open about how they use safety culture to track all of the details on their shop operations. Safety culture is purpose-built for 80% of the blue-collar workforce. The people that are out there working hard each and every day, from factories to stores, even race shops like ours in Trackhouse Racing. Every detail is tracked and everyone has full visibility to make sure that nothing is missed. Because the workers on the ground floor know what's happening the best, safety culture makes it easy to share those insights, giving visibility to other departments all in real time. This means you and your team get the job done faster, you make better decisions, and you constantly find more ways to improve so that you can spend your time where it counts. You want to see how it could help put your business on the pole position? Head over to safetyculture.com/SVG. We talked also, there's a conversation going on in the sport and a real possible change in the playoff format coming. And that was kind of a conversation that was rumbling there throughout the offseason after we had the playoffs last year. A lot of people kind of frustrated or not in favor of the way that playoff played out with Logano. And so there's a real healthy conversation and debate going on in the industry about what the playoffs should look like if they were to change. And man, we can all sit here and kind of debate on what we think the best format might be. And there are people that say, well, there'll never, a lot of people want to go back to the original format where there is no playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that.
Well, it's not off the table entirely. I would give it, I want to make sure I'm clear on this, TJ. It has a very tiny % chance of actually happening, near zero. But it is in the conversation. And I like that. It's a healthy debate of saying, look, we're probably never going to go back to this original, but let's discuss the merits and the positives of it and why did we go away from it, right? And I think that helps us actually find, all right, what did we love about the original format? Well, the original format, there's no arguing on who the champion was. He was the person that got the most points throughout the year, and there was no fluke, right, or no sort of gaming the system. And that's what people loved about that. So how can we find a playoff format that includes that legitimacy? And so in the end, I don't believe that we're ever going to say, oh, man, this is the perfect format.
No, we'll never have the perfect format.
No, you're never going to have it.
Every sport has that. You're never going to get it.
No. So, but I was thinking about it like this, and I really think this was as close as we can get between the best of both worlds. What if we got rid of the regular season? And starting in Daytona with the Daytona 500s, the playoffs began. And the playoffs are the whole season, ending with a final one-round championship round. So, or 3 or 4 race championship round, like one round instead of this, 4 rounds and eliminate a few guys and all that. Make the regular season feel like the playoffs. So the problem with what we have right now is that when the season begins, there's not a lot of urgency. And in the old system, a bad race was damning on your championship hopes. So week 2, week 4, a bad run, a broken engine, or whatever,
you're in a hole.
You felt that.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't feel that anymore. Right? We have bad races. Guys get out. They don't give a They're going to come back next week with a chance to make the playoffs. Every week is another chance to punch your ticket and go on into the playoffs, regardless of what kind of season you had. And so we've lost what we have lost as a sport is the agony of defeat. The highs and the lows have kind of been the peaks and the valleys have kind of been neutralized. And so we don't have those heart breakers. And the highs aren't as high anymore.
But do you want someone's season ended?
I'm sorry. This is big boy. Yes. I'm sorry, man. Like, this is at the top level of this game. You can't be coddled and handheld and ushered through the season to your little playoff seat. Like, that's what we have lost.
So get rid of the win and you're in.
So I feel like that you start the season and you run, if there's 36 races, you run, let's say, 30 or 32 races to determine the 3 or 4 drivers that are going to race for your championship in a single round of maybe 4, 5, 6 races. So
do you really want it just to be 3 or 4? What about what about 6 or 8?
No.
You don't think 6 guys are capable?
I'm sorry. You didn't have a good enough season. So that puts the pressure on the teams. The fans will feel that intensity and urgency from the moment we drop the green flag in Daytona. We talk about how every spot matters, every lap matters. It truly will bring all of that back because you'll be watching knowing that your guy needs a good day today. And that all of that's going to add up and produce this opportunity for him to race for the championship or not. When we really get down to it, and we go through the entire season, you'll look at the playoff picture and go, man, there's really 3 or 4 guys that really truly deserve to win this championship. Well, that's the guys that need to be in the final round or the only round to go for the championship. And so we have been doing this thing for so long that I can see the look on y'all's faces. We made it 10 races, 10 drivers. Nope, 12 drivers, 14, 16, everybody. And it's y'all are so far down that road that is normal to you. And y'all were so far down the road of, the regular season doesn't matter. You win a race, you get in the playoffs. That's all that matters. That is not a recipe for success. And so what we need to bring back we need to bring back what that original point system had, and that was like, man, we knew when the season started it was going to probably come down to like 2 drivers. And we can't go back. We won't go back to that. But we do need to start the season with a playoff sort of environment, a playoff intensity. The regular season has been numbed and dumbed down by the playoffs. And our insistence on creating Game 7 moments in every possible opportunity is squeezed all the juice out of the lemon. And so, the rounds are getting wilder. The races that we're putting in each of these rounds are getting like it was a round this past year that
guys are getting more desperate and doing more desperate things too.
Yeah, that is good. But honestly, man, I feel like that you start the year off, you run, all the races. We're going to get to the end. There are going to be 4 of you, or that number can be adjusted. There are going to be a few of you that are going to get into this championship round. And it's going to be a robust 4 to 6 races that these guys will race it out. And I honestly can't see a way a guy flukes his way into that group, and I can't see a way that somebody that wins it isn't justified and creditable.
Okay, so if you run this, what are your final races?
I think that's a great conversation. I think it would, you could putting those 4. You want to put those 4 drivers through all of the variables, so you'll have a road course in there. You'll have a Daytona or a Talladega in there. You'll have a 1.5 mile, a short track, some intermediate or 1 mile racetrack. So I mean, I think that's the easiest part, honestly.
And is there a way to do a point system for just the championship guys so it doesn't involve other team cars? You know what I mean? Like if you win the race and I finish 5th, I still get second place points for that race to keep it tighter. That way you don't have the manipulating or anything like that.
So I don't know. That'd be a tough conversation. You'd have to get the Racing Insights guys to run tons of simulation to see, all right, man, could you get a up sort of result from that?
You either get 1st through 4th place points if you got 4 guys in there. And if you're the 4th guy.
But if your 4th guy runs 35th in the race, you want him really – I mean, if the other 2 run 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and he ends up in 35th, then do you really want to give him a break?
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at ways where people could –
and you got to keep it easy and simple for the fans too. I mean, I think you make it as simple as possible, but
why not just get rid of the winning year in the playoffs then if you want these bad finishes to hurt, and then it's not about just winning one race and your season's saved now. You still have to race well for multiple races.
Yeah.
And you still get your playoffs, because if you do where the old system, I think you're going to have drivers out of it early and fans might be disinterested.
Man, did that really hurt the growth of the sport through the 90s and 2000s? Where people just turned the off?
Yeah, well, the sport was at its best. The sport isn't at its best now, so you're going to add something that potentially could hurt it.
No, you're bringing something actually back that actually worked.
I see Travis's point, though. I don't know if people, the newer fans are going to stay interested.
But you can't compare the sports landscape is different. Social media, people's attention span.
I don't buy that.
You look at every sport.
I don't buy that. I don't buy this. We got to change it because attention spans are awful. That's a weak ass excuse, honestly.
But are you going to get the hardcore fan? You've already got locked in. But are you going to get new fans when it's down to a couple drivers?
What we're doing ain't working. I'll say that.
I mean, good racing brings fans.
Yeah.
To me, it's not just, and if you have good racing, people are tuned in no matter what.
What you got right now, the drivers don't give a about. I mean, the guy that wins the championship, Joey, of course, he's thrilled. But they're always going to compare what we're doing today to the way we used to crown champions, and not in a positive way. The drivers, I've heard drivers tell me that they want it to matter more to win a championship. They want to feel like when they've won that championship that they've truly been the best and the best person has won it. They want it to matter more than it matters today. That's a issue for me.
I don't disagree with that, but I just think
I got drivers telling me they want to win the championship the way they used to. The way they want to win the championship by the accumulation of their entire season and looking at that and going, it is the best.
I was better than you.
I was better. And that's how they get up to try to win that. And so right now the way we're doing it they're more proud of getting to the final race and how difficult that is than actually taking home the big trophy.
I don't disagree with the format now needs fixed.
The big trophy and the big championship win is just a label that they're proud to have. Hey, man, you're going to call me a champion. I'm a champion. I've always wanted to be a champion. But the actual experience and the process to get there isn't as enjoyable for them as the original format and what they grew up doing at every other level of racing, right? And so this sort of we can agree the current format isn't quite the best.
Correct.
We worked our ass off to get to this point, yes, but is it the best? Probably not. I'm trying to find a way that we give it back to the drivers, and they're like, yes, man, this is a badass points championship. I know that if I go out and do this and go through this process, I'm going to be very, very proud of this accomplishment in my life, and it matters, and it's everything in the world to me. That's what's missing.
What if also in the playoffs you got rid of the points resetting, so when you mess up in a playoff race, it counts going forward?
Yeah. I just feel like there's too many rounds, too much, too much circumstance, too much luck and oddities, and it needs to come back down to more purely, here are the best, put them on the track, give them a handful of racetracks to go to, and let's find out who does it better.
I've always liked the traditional format, kind of like what you're saying, where you put together a whole season. It's not just, I think last year kind of opened everyone's eyes to more of, the guy didn't have the greatest season, but he won when he needed to. And, I'm not necessarily, I don't know about, do you keep stages as well?
I go back and forth. I don't mind the stages. I like the points. So I like that there's points earned in the race as the race is happening. I don't really hate that at all. It's not really bothered me. It's not taken away from my experience. Sometimes though, the cautions things up, and the caution will come out a couple laps before the end of the stage, and so we just circle around and finish in the stage under caution, and then we still have to have the 8 or so laps of stage break caution. What
do you think about just paying the stage points?
No caution.
At like plate races,
I like
just paying them and keep going. That takes the fuel deal. You know what I mean? Makes everybody try differently.
It might. Yeah. I think there are races where the cautions for these stages are unnecessary, but we tried that at the road courses and everybody hated it. And
I didn't like it either.
Yeah. So, that to me is maybe something to look at maybe, the plate races. I don't know what we do to work on that or fix the race in there, but, we don't have this problem at Atlanta yet. It's Atlanta, it looks like to me that most of the field's busting their ass, hauling ass, running hard as they can. I mean, am I wrong?
They are. No, they got their hands full there. There's handling characteristics and stuff. And
so you can't really sit there and play the fuel game at that racetrack, right?
No.
When you go to Daytona and Talladega, do we need to make the cars handle worse? Is there a way to get the cars to sort of have some balanced challenges. I don't want guys out of control, but
I mean, I want to see guys lift off a turn 4 at Daytona because they're tight on the bottom, like a truck race.
Happen.
Like truck races, they still do it in the truck race.
Yeah.
Like you can see a guy every race I spot there. If I'm in the second lane, if we're in the second lane, I tell the guy, look, you're gonna have to give him an extra half a lane because he needs it.
Yeah. Well,
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Can you just change how much fuel they have?
No.
Still gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, they're still gonna figure out. I don't think that would make a difference. The simplest thing would be to add a stage, like a fourth stage, or whatever it would take, so that they could get to the end of the stage on one tank. Right? If you make it where fuel isn't a problem, but that is that's not the purest form of. I don't know. I don't know if I love that, but hey, that would be the quickest way to fix it, is to basically say, hey, okay, we're going to make enough stages in these races to where you're going to race. It's like, we're just going to run heat races. 35 laps, caution. 35 laps, caution. 35 laps, caution.
But then, what if the racing is just 2x2 the entire time? And
that's the car. The car is another problem.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it at the end of the race when it was all like, all right, we're all going. They can't do nothing but run 2x2. Yeah. And Denny explains it on his show. He's a driver, nobody better to tell us why those guys in the second, third, and fourth row didn't duck out on the last lap or coming to the finish line. He's explaining it. Yeah. The car's got way too much drag on it. And so, I mean, if they took some drag off this thing, big chunks, it would make the racing look completely different.
It'd separate them a little bit, too.
Yeah, you'd maybe have guys that try to have form runs just like you see in the Xfinity Series or just like you saw in the Cup Series before the next gen.
Yeah, or people lifting because they're loose, like something.
Yeah, they're chasing the car through the tri-oval and stuff and having to get out of the gas on the inside of people, creating some gaps between cars. What Denny talked about was like, man, we're all bumper to bumper, and you're just kind of moving a half a car length back and forth, stuck beside the guy you're beside. The front line, the front two lanes are both just sitting there side drafting. Nobody's going anywhere, and there's no gaps between cars for you to change lanes. You're stuck. You're in the lane you're in. You can't go right. You can't go left.
You're just stuck.
You can't go nowhere.
You can't even get out of it.
No, you can't get out of it.
You're stuck in the middle.
Yeah, and so that's awful. That's not good.
Yeah, that it's not. In the beginning, the first 40 laps, we spent 2 inside, 1 outside, or 2 outside, 1 inside. It was like that the first 40 laps for us. I did not like it a bit.
I know. And there's a group there's a group of people that sit there and watch that race and went like, it wasn't as bad as some. But there's some glaring problems with the restrictor plate pack, or the racing at Daytona, Talladega with the next gen. There's some issues with the car. They need to work on them. They need to fix them. And I think if they pulled a bunch of drag off the car, that would be a lot of it. That'd be a lot of the problem. But NASCAR's scared of how fast it'll go, and they're already flipping up in the air because they're in, when they turn around backwards, they're in an airplane. So, it's not you can take the drag off, but then you got to slow them down.
But I mean, that's always kind of been part of it too, though, right?
Yeah. Well,
do you think maybe this car has made it where we can hit each other this hard and race like this?
Flipping at Daytona and Talladega is not a new thing, and I know we're trying all we can. We're trying all the time to try to keep the cars on the ground. No one wants to flip, especially violently, in these cars. So of course we always should be trying to figure out a way to try to keep the cars from coming up off the ground. But that's going 190 mile an hour is going to happen. But the problem with the car is the drag on the car. When you run the car by itself, what is it, 15, 10, 20 mile an hour slower?
It's way slower.
That's a problem. There is the problem. When you put the car in the draft, they run 195 mile an hour. When it runs by itself, it runs 181, 2, whatever it is. It's terrible. So you're telling me that I'm coming down to the white flag or coming to the checkered flag, and I'm in the second or third row. A car that runs 20 mile an hour slower by itself. You're wanting me to pull out, hoping to get some help. And if I don't, I'm going to bleed speed all the way to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
No way. I ain't doing it. I wouldn't get out of line either.
Yeah, you're just going to finish where you finish.
Yeah. Do I sit here in the outside line, the fourth car in the outside line, and finish 7th or 8th, or do I pull out of line and run 18th?
Or worse.
Or worse. How you going to? So that's what's wrong with the car, is too much drag on it. When they can take the drag off the car, get the car to qualify more realistically close to what the car runs in the draft, we'll see a whole lot different of a show.
I've got to tell you how happy I am that I've joined the Consumer Cellular family. They offer a great service, and the best part is how much money I'm saving. After all, it's all about being smart with your money. Now I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, but without the cost. Normally when you go to a racetrack, you have a ton of fans all trying to use their cell phones, and the service isn't great. And the last thing you want to have happen is someone trying to get a hold of you, but the call or text is not going through. With Consumer Cellular, you don't have to worry. All weekend when I was at Talladega, I had great service and didn't have to think twice. Do you know about Consumer Cellular? It's not a prepaid option. You pick a plan, and you know exactly what your bill is going to be every month. It's so easy to switch. I called and spoke to an actual human based right here in the U.S. Their entire customer service team is 100% U.S. based, and they're great. I wish every company had humans on the other end when you called their customer service number. Switching was really so much easier than I thought. Almost as easy as beating Dale in NCAA. It took less than 20 minutes. Not sure why I waited so long. I ended up choosing their 2 for $60 plan. It's so much less than I was paying with my previous provider. You should check them out. Save your money for something else. And now you can get your second month free with my special promo code DJD. Taxes and third-party fees will apply. So check out consumercellular.com for more info.
Rodney Childers out at Spire. Man, I was shocked. I know they hadn't, listen, I was shocked by this. I don't think we spent a ton of time on it. I don't know, apparently Rodney and them have discussed it publicly that it was deteriorating. They weren't happy. He wasn't happy. All of that. I get it. Sometimes the marriage doesn't work.
Odd time of the year.
But, man, Rodney is a very talented guy. Where does he go from here? I honestly think, man, that if he can find his way into that Chevrolet building, he does. That's what he ought to do. There's and I don't know if there's opportunities over there for him, but with his experience, a lot of the great talented people in our business that he's done the cup stuff, the travel, the crew chief,
champion.
It's time for him to find another space in this industry where he can be an asset to something, but be at home.
Yeah, he's graduated.
Yeah, it's time. He's paid his dues, and I think I would love to see him find a place within management or over at one of the tech buildings,
something like that,
and maybe even working for NASCAR. He's probably not going to make what he wants to make, and that he might have to make a couple small.
But if you're not traveling, that's a
yeah. His kids, his boys.
Yeah,
he just loves his son so much. He's so proud of them.
Yeah,
and he's earned this opportunity, I think, and so I hope. I know he's probably going to be great. He said so much in an interview that he wants to get back on the pit box, and I'm like, man, I hope that he finds a different opportunity. Honestly,
yeah, maybe he'll get an opportunity at something and see like it.
Yeah,
there's a handful of teams that should be knocking on his door, not taking no for an answer.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's had some calls.
Well, I don't know that he loves the next gen car. And I don't think that his expertise and his tools as a crew chief, he can't apply them to this car.
Yeah.
And so his ability to be creative, smart, think outside the box, do something completely different from the competition is gone with this car and the rules that we have. And so I don't know that he really was enjoying himself all that much. I don't think it's a Spire Rodney Childers issue. I think it's a Rodney Childers Gen 7 issue. Are we at the Gen 7, right?
Yeah.
Gen 8, whatever. So in my mind, I'm like, man, don't do this. Don't go back into the routine. You're not enjoying it. It's not what you cut out for. It's not why you fell in love with all this to begin with. But he could go to, like the GM building, or even a different organization into their development of, new parts and processes, right? And maybe, find some of that creativity opportunities that he loves, and find a way to influence whole organizations, right? And whole manufacturers. So I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking.
I don't know if it's
loud.
all. To me, it's a little bit everything. I don't think Rodney was happy. Obviously, he wasn't. But I think the mix with him and Justin might not have been as good as
Maybe
they
not.
thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been there before, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you just never know.
Well, I don't think you can look at it wasn't a performance thing, because that you can't look at that team. Their performance has kind of steadily been improving over the last
little bit,
several
yeah.
years. Right, yeah. So, I mean,
It's been getting better.
I didn't see anything glaring that was like, oh, man, this isn't working.
I did expect more out of the box, but they were climbing.
Yeah, we expected more out of Spire overall because of the big changes they had in the offseason.
For sure.
And it's not really happened. And so we tempered our expectations. They are doing better. Not a knock on Spire. They're doing great. But, and they're on this very, linear sort of growth. And they're steady on that.
They're making moves.
Okay.
Like trying, you know what I mean? Like,
dude,
they're making hiring.
give them a lot of credit. Hiring and firing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Rodney's a great friend of mine, man.
He's always a good dude.
I didn't like seeing him let go in the middle of the season. But anyhow, let's talk Cars Tour.
Cars Tour.
I went to Orange County Speedway.
Did you throw a promoter caution?
I did not.
Did you black flag
We
anybody?
already have those baked into our process. So the Cars Tour was awesome. I went to Cordeal, ran that race, got out. I went on Flow and all these other, Matt Weaver and all these guys, and did some content about things we need to fix, things we need to do better, misshifts and stuff like that, causing some crashes. We went to Orange County, and we had, in my mind, an exceptional weekend. Everything that you want the series to be and how you want it to perform, it was that. I just rolled up there Saturday morning, watched our staff work through tech and practice and all kinds of other things. We had a short conversation with the drivers about, kind of cleaning our restarts up a little bit, and we're putting some of the responsibility on them. They argue that we need to do a few things as a series to hold them more accountable. And so there's a little truth to both sides of that. But man, I will say this: the drivers, the spotters play a big role too in coaching these young drivers and telling them kind of what's expected, and so they can help or hurt what's going on the racetrack. Everybody did a great job. Our restarts looked great. We didn't have any real big mistakes, no misshifts, no cars destroyed on restarts. And our races, another issue I had was we ended up at midnight, I think around midnight at the Cordeal race. So
It was pretty late.
Yeah, pretty late. So my beer drinking hours got ate into.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. And we got done at 9:15 p.m. People were pulling out of there. I was on the highway at 9:30 to go home. So it was a lot of fun. We had Ryan Newman race. So I called Matt Piercy, who owns a car. His dad manages Hickory Motor Speedway. And Matt's been racing at Hickory with his cars and in the Cars Tour here lately.
Been a champion there, hasn't he?
Yes. Won the South Carolina 400 a couple years ago. So Matt's got some great cars. Tristan McKee's driving his car this year in the late model stock, but Tristan was running some Trans Am stuff. So I called Matt because I was complaining to him about something he said on the radio at Cordeal that we needed to clean up. And in that conversation,
Dang, you calling the drivers, huh?
the team owner.
It's our team owner.
Yeah.
You calling them out.
Well, I call him when we got it.
I think it's good.
He actually.
I think it's good you do it.
Yeah. He wanted to talk to me about it, so we talked. And we in that conversation, he said, we got around to talking about races and inventory, and he said, I got a couple races open. Tristan's not going to run. and I'd be open to running a driver. And I said, well, I got this little list of drivers: Ryan Newman, let me see, Casey Kane, Matt Kenseth, maybe Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte, Greg Biffle, Clint Boyer. I wanted and reply down in the comments what driver. It could be anybody. Bubba Pollard, Nasty, I don't care who it is. What driver you want to see running the Cars Tour that hasn't ran there? Say you are going to plug a driver into a car for a one-time experience. Who do you want to see come to the Cars Tour and race? Well, I called Ryan Newman and I said, hey, man, I know it's short notice, but I got a car for you if you want to run it. And he went to the racetrack. They qualified good and raced 14th. Kind of struggled in the race a little bit, but
that's really not struggling in a Cars Tour race, to be honest with you.
But Ryan Newman got out of the car pouring sweat. His helmet blower didn't work, so he didn't have any cold air blowing in there. But so that would have been miserable. But he's like, dude, these guys are intense. The racing is intense, so intense. He thought when the race started they were just kind of going to be, kind of smooth and steady pace, and he kept losing spots. And I'm like, damn, Ryan, you better don't want to lose too many here. And he noticed that. He's like, man, I didn't think they were going to fire off the way they did at the start. It was really intense. Loved it. He had a great time. He'd love to do it again. He'd never ran a late mile before. So that's what I want to do is, take a couple of these guys and plug them in.
I had a little bit of a list for you.
Yeah.
I had Mark McFarland. I would like to see
it.
Mark get back in there. I wouldn't mind seeing Coleman Presley get back in something. Coleman's a pretty good little driver. And your boy Denny. So I would like to see Denny go run a late model again.
Well, Denny's already said that he wants to run Xfinity next year.
I don't want him to
Speedway.
I want him to run.
So let's just add. So I'm saying let's add.
I want to see Denny go run the Cars Tour.
Yeah, I'd love to get Kyle Busch in our car, in one of my cars for a race. And
as long as he doesn't follow you to pit road, you're good.
I know he would do it. I know he would do it if we could figure it out. But tough thing about it with the Cup guys is they're racing every weekend. We are too.
Yeah.
But there's a couple options. Caraway's a Wednesday race, and then the Florence race is on Friday or Saturday before the Darlington race. I mean, that's doable.
All-Star weekend?
Yeah, All-Star weekend, I guess, if they wanted to. But anyways, we had a great weekend in Orange County. We go to Ace this weekend on Saturday night, May 3rd. So tune in to Flow if you want to. Short tracks bring on the short tempers, and there's also $1 million on the line. The NASCAR All-Star Race roars back to North Wilkesboro Speedway May 15th through May 18th for an action-packed weekend at the 5/8 Mile Bull Ring. It's one of the best tickets in racing, and it's also one of NASCAR's most iconic tracks. Starting it off are the two Z-Max Cars Tour races. I love when the Cars Tour gets its chance to race at Wilkesboro, and I'm going to be there working the booth for that. There's also going to be the Pit Crew Challenge, presented by Mechanics Wear, the All-Star Heat Races, and the Window World 250 Craftsman Truck Series race, and a Jayco in concert all on Saturday, free for Saturday and Sunday ticket holders. If that isn't enough, how about the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour on All-Star Sunday? They'll get the green flag right before the All-Star Open, where those guys that are trying to make the show for the biggest all-star event in sports. There's never been an all-star race weekend like this. So much racing all in one weekend. Get your tickets today at northwilkesborospeedway.com. Military personnel, first responders, law enforcement, teachers, and other government service personnel can save on tickets thanks to GovX. Visit northwilkesborospeedway.com for details. So Austin Cindric has joined us on the show. Austin, thanks for coming.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you being here in person.
Yeah.
Usually our winter calls in.
Congrats.
Thank you.
What you been up to? What's the last couple? What's this morning look like?
This morning's been pretty busy. A couple live TV interviews. Most fun thing I did so far this morning. I went to Roush Yates, delivered some donuts. It's kind of been a thing for me in the past. When I was racing the Xfinity Series and kind of expected to win a bunch of times throughout the year. I'd come there every couple months and bring donuts and thank them for a win. And it's been spaced out a little bit more since racing the Cup Series.
Yeah,
so
you got the big motor.
It's kind of a it's kind of a bigger deal now that we do it, and it was their 200th Cup win.
Damn,
points paying win. So it was
cool.
a big win for them, and to do it at Talladega, I know it's a big deal for Doug and the family. Talladega is an important place, so kind of cool for it to all come together there.
Really nice. Well, You've established, I think, yourself, and Denny said this a couple of months ago, as one of the best racers at restrictor plate tracks or the plate tracks like Daytona, Talladega. You were able to put together a really, really great race, do everything right, and want to celebrate that. With that said, obviously you hear the conversation around the how the car races there, and there's no, you've raced in the Xfinity Series there, you've raced in the old Cup car there, this current generation of the Cup car there. Do you feel like that it's, I know you crossed the finish line first, so it's hard for you to kind of put yourself in the mind of the guy that's sitting there on the last lap running 8th or 10th. Mm-hmm. But what kind of style of racing do you enjoy at those racetracks?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the more that we can help educate what's actually happening. Mm-hmm. is going to make these races more exciting. Yep. And not that, that race, in my opinion, as the winner, but like, it's an exciting race. I mean, it's a green flag finish too. Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of like, we all these photo finishes on the backstretch from a camera, and where's the camera angle?
Not
and
better
all
than
this.
that. Not good. Definitely better than that.
We did better at that. We're not single file out by the wall. Yeah. I mean, we're doing 4 wide. I mean, somebody who might not even know what's going on probably thinks it's the coolest thing ever. Yes. Obviously, you want to be able to race through the field and be able to push your way forward and make moves and make decisions, because we've had that before. Yep. And, I feel like there's a skill set with that, and there's a skill set with perfect execution. There's a skill set with saving the fuel. There's a skill set with controlling lanes. I feel like that doesn't happen as much as it used to. I feel like that's something you used to be really good at, something Brad used to be exceptionally good at. So, and that's a lot harder to control now because of, the hole the car punches and, different factors, right? So, the racing that I would want to see, I never give myself the luxury to think that way, I guess, because I feel like that'll influence your decisions emotionally in the car. Yeah. Maybe as a race fan or as a competitor, I feel like I have to separate those two. But sure. I watch a lot of these races, and to me they are very challenging, because the funny thing about this car, and we've changed it a bunch of times with different aero packages, trying different things. To NASCAR's credit, we have tried a ton, especially at short tracks, but this package has not changed at all since we did our first speedway race at the Daytona 500. Same package, same engine, same everything, but the race looks different every time. Yeah, every time, and it's the human element, and the human element is so important at those tracks. Whether if it's the strategy calls or what drivers think are going to work, and if there's enough people that believe in one thing, all of a sudden there's a lane that works that never did before. Yeah, it's very interesting to kind of follow along with that and understand what's actually happening versus what's being influenced. Yeah,
no, that's a great point. I mean, when we did run the high line in single file, like that was an option for years that none of us ever did. Mm-hmm. We didn't do it, right? And then once we got up there and we saw how that changed, how the cars engaged with each other, and instead of when we ran the bottom of the racetrack, only really the leader was wide open. All the other guys were a little bit out of the gas at different times throughout the lap. But when you move to the top, more people are wide open, and that's why that was hard to really race against, or hard to make. You couldn't make any moves or go move forward unless you really got a ton of people to believe in that bottom line. And but that high line was there for years before any of us discovered what that phenomenon was, right? And how that was. It was great as the leader, because you didn't have any runs coming behind you. The guy in second's wide open too, so he was totally easy to defend everything happening.
Yeah, it was awesome as a spotter.
Yeah, and you're right. There's probably there's probably, if we sat idle as is, there are some developments that would potentially just happen naturally, right? Out of curiosity and just trying things that haven't been tried before. The one thing that I do look at, the one thing that I don't love, or I think is kind of problematic, is the difference in the speed of the car by itself versus the speed of the car in the draft. And if there was a way to close that gap, that might allow you guys to have more influence over what you're doing when you're mid-pack or trying to make some moves, instead of just kind of being boxed in. Like when we come down to the finish line, not so much the guys pushing you and the guys in the second row, but like the car in 8th or 10th can't get out of line because
Right.
the drag on the car is so bad. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Because if you get out of line, you're driving a car that's 20 mile an hour slower, and you're just going to bleed speed to the finish line. Everybody's going to go, wow, what a dumbass, So people wonder, people that part is like, again, that's why people like sit there and watch and go, what the hell? None of them tried anything. Well, there's a reason why they didn't try anything, right? And explaining that, to your point, is kind of what's missing a little bit. But the thing that you did do was you had a flawless race. You did everything you're supposed to do to be able to put yourself in that position late in the race to where you had the track position necessary. Talk about how that process begins, and I'm sure it starts Monday morning in the office.
Yeah, I think rarely can you leave a super speedway race and go, we did, every single person on the team had an influence in the win. And I think that's what makes this win really satisfying for me. Obviously, I have to do my job in executing, but from the fuel mileage, from the fuel that we put in the car, to the man actually physically putting the fuel in the car, to the spotting on the roof, to the speed in the car through inspection, how the car handled, like, I can't think of a category in a box that wasn't checked for us for that race. And that's hard to do. Like, we can go to Texas this weekend, have the fastest car, and do all these things and feel good about it and probably win the race.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen very often at speedway races, and that's what's so exciting for me about a win like this. But what goes into it, I mean, you have to prepare for these races differently. I mean, I'll go out back and practice with my fueler. I'll study film. I study film every week, but you have to study it differently for these types of races and really understand. I mean, I watched the Xfinity race from the spotter stand with Doug. I mean, it's just, it's whatever you want to do, right? I mean, and every driver is going to be different. Some people want a quiet mind, and some people want to just lose themselves in what they do. And I've got nothing else going on. This is all I care about. So, and I get confidence in my preparation. I don't like, confidence isn't like an emotion for me. It's more of, have I done everything I've could possibly do to be ready for the race? And if I have, then my mind's quiet and I can just go do my thing.
Yeah. So a lot was made about the comment that Joey made during the race.
What comment?
Yeah. I said, I put out a post on social media when that was going on, and I said, man, it's when you're in that car, there's nobody to sit there and go, hey, man, maybe you shouldn't do that. And there's no time for you even to go, should I say this? You just say it. And there's no point in saying it unless somebody can hear it. And so there's no point in saying anything unless you mash the button. And so there's 1,000 times where I've been in a race car and mashed the button and said something, and immediately, if not right after that, maybe later that day, went, you know what, probably didn't have to air that out. And the great thing about it today is that all that stuff gets easily captured and out to the masses, right? Either it's on the broadcast or it's going to be a YouTube clip that'll live forever.
Yep.
There's one where I was a guy broke his hand on a pit stop on my tire carrier, Jackman broke his hand on a pit stop, and I was not very nice about it. But I was like, walk it off. And so,
yeah, that did happen.
Let's live. Now I got to live with that. But
you've been worse than that too.
Yeah, I'm sure. So we know that this is not too uncommon. It was a bit personal, right? And so, like, how do you handle that going forward? Have you and Joey had a chance to have a conversation about it? Because it's gotten a little more, talk and traction than most things do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really take that overly personal.
Sure.
Joey and I know each other really well, and we've been teammates for a while now. I like to think of that. It's just he's a bit Italian. That's where that comes from, and that's about it, really.
I didn't think about that.
We talked about it yesterday and talked about it as a team, and cleared the air on some topics. And what that really comes down to is I think between the four of us, really, we're all good enough at this to expect a lot out of each other, and we do a lot for each other. So with that comes, I mean, when we have three of our cars, in proximity at the end of a stage, like, we want to capitalize. I mean,
yeah.
these are great opportunities for us, and I mean, that's obviously where the frustration comes from. I mean, you can dig into the weeds of what we could and couldn't do, and I feel like everybody has a role there. But otherwise, I'm cool about it. I feel like
Was Joey surprised how much traction that got?
I mean, I didn't ask him that question, but
What did he say
about
to you at all?
I mean, I think we talked more about the racing stuff than anything else. I don't think there was no
You
like
stood face to face with him and didn't like have a conversation about this.
not really. I mean, like he acknowledged that like, hey, I probably shouldn't have keyed up and said
That's
that.
what he
but,
said?
like,
Yeah,
it's
good enough.
It's kind of one of those things. That,
So
like,
he acknowledged it at least.
yeah, he acknowledged. I mean,
Okay.
you don't want to. I mean, it's.
I mean, it really is great that you won the race. There's not much you could say.
no, but
this
like
was the ultimate.
it's
If you had-
it totally doesn't
If
matter.
you lose the race, like he could have been like, "Dummy, you dummy." See, he could have continued his point.
It's been a long time since I've been called every word in the book, and that's about as close to it. So,
Yeah.
like I said, it doesn't
see-
doesn't really bother me.
Did you
that
see
much.
what Chipper Jones said?
I did. That's been fairly entertaining to be
Yeah.
honest.
Where? Who knew Chipper Jones was? Are you and him golfing buddies or what?
No, I was
Like, he come
kind of
out of
surprised. I
nowhere.
mean, I don't know.
He's
I
not
don't
a
follow
Joey.
much. I don't follow much baseball.
Yeah.
but I would say I'm a very casual Braves fan.
Bigger fan now, I suppose.
I do have a Braves hat in my truck, but it's not something I wore into the meeting by any means yesterday. But
That would have been awesome.
no, it would not have
Yes.
been awesome.
That's absolutely right up your alley with
Yeah.
your sense of humor.
The thought crossed my mind, but it was not the right moment. No,
that'd have been good.
That would have
It's
been
cool
fine.
though. I didn't know that he was
I
such a big
wear
race
the
fan.
hat, carried the trophy.
Yeah, probably not.
I was surprised, man. I was in Vegas doing an appearance, standing there, and saw that on my phone. I was like, I had to look at it and make sure it wasn't a fake account, like Chipper with 3 P's or something.
I triple checked it.
yeah,
too. Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
is
yeah.
this these Chippers don't like? He's very. This is a lot of detail.
Yeah.
in it.
I mean,
He's
do
a
you
big
know him
deal.
at all? Does
Yeah,
he
he's done
like
the show.
racing?
Yeah, I reckon he's a big race fan, bigger than I thought.
I love that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the comments and all that is oh, wow.
Yeah.
But like the passion. Like
Yes.
he's a NASCAR fan. Clearly,
Yeah.
like that is a NASCAR
Yeah.
fan.
Absolutely.
He picked
I
up his
love
phone
that.
and sent a tweet out because
Yeah.
like that's pretty good.
Like if you're that engaged with the race,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It was
it's
awesome.
only good for our sport from that standpoint. So I love the support, but yeah, the rest of it is a bit noisy.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah.
We were flying home and all I saw was teammate beef and I'm like, oh boy, and I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay.
Pretty interesting. Well, I'll say this. I know it's probably not a ton of fun to be in the muck of those type of things and the awkwardness of it, but it's awesome for the sport. So like to have Chipper Jones
It is.
chiming
Yes.
in, any kind of athlete or any entertainer outside of our world giving a about what's going on. It's
For sure.
Awesome.
Winning the race though
Yeah.
is what really did it.
Oh,
Man.
no doubt. I mean, that's definitely the best part of my week. And
Oh yeah.
you know, it's such a satisfying feeling to win those races. And I mean, I even did just a cool down lap, like by myself, like did the full lap, kind of looking around the infield and just looking around my car. You know, you don't know when your next win's going to be, and
Oh,
these things
for
are
sure,
so
yeah.
hard to
Hard
do.
to
And
win.
it's I'm glad I did that.
Yeah.
It's a fun feeling, and it's a fun group to do it with.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a conversation in the industry around the playoffs and changing the format. What's your favorite format?
I like playoffs.
You like how it is?
I like playoff. I mean, for the most part, I feel like you can nitpick it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a playoffs guy.
What if I said there's a 36 race season, right? What if I said we're going to run 30 races and then somehow through wins, points, and all those things, the top 4 or 6 are going to go race in 6 races for a championship. No rounds, no eliminations, just 6 drivers.
Doesn't sound very exciting at all.
What?
Like, that doesn't sound exciting at all to
Okay.
me. I
All
mean,
right.
and I'll tell you why. Because the elimination factor,
Yeah.
like no different than the playoffs in the NFL, than the NCAA.
Those
There's-
parts are exciting.
that is
they are.
that is high pressure. You want to see people be put in high pressure situations and perform at their absolute limit.
Can't argue with that. What about the conversation that a driver has more satisfaction, and you probably won't agree, but there's been drivers that have said to me, "Man, I'm more relieved and proud of just getting to the finals than actually winning the championship," and that they don't covet winning the championship as much as we did years ago. And so when I've been in these conversations with drivers, I'm like, okay, so our first thing that we need to do is make this really matter and be the most important thing you're ever going to do in your life. And they all nod their head. Yes, that's what we need. That's what's missing.
Right.
So would you agree? You wouldn't agree because you haven't won a championship. Neither have I. Like we would do anything, right? It's still the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, I think I have some perspective because I do feel like I've been on both sides of it.
Yeah.
In the Xfinity series, I've only ever raced in a national series with stage points, stage racing, and playoffs.
Yeah.
My first year in trucks was the first time that I did all three, and in Xfinity, I won the championship. I won the last race. You could have argued me and Briscoe, one of us deserved the championship. We raced it out at the end. I won the championship. The following year, I feel like I could leave there and go, well, I got more points than everybody else the entire year, and this format, I lost the championship because of it. No, I lost the championship because that's the format. Like I didn't win the race. I didn't finish in front of the other three guys. Like I feel like I've seen both sides of it to understand the pressure, but. And I understand, like, I would totally agree. Like, the largest challenge that we have in our sport is to make it to the Final Four.
Yeah, we need to flip it. But do you think that you should have more races than one for the championship?
I think there's some value in that. I think maybe having a round. But what does a race win mean in that round?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I feel like the format can be tweaked, nitpicked, but the concept of having playoffs themselves, gosh, I think there's so much value in the pressure and in the intensity and what it pushes everybody to do. I mean, you wouldn't get Ross Chastain riding the wall at Martinsville without playoffs.
Sure.
You wouldn't get so many things that happen throughout the year and so many emotions that happen throughout the season. I mean, the emotion from me winning the race yesterday. I mean, that changes the next 17 weeks of my year, being able to have the pressure not to make the playoffs, but the pressure to double down on yourself and be ready to run for a championship.
But do you think that changes, though? Like you, Larson, a lot of big guys already have wins. Does that take pressure off them to be as aggressive as they need to be at times? If he's saying if you have to perform all year, he wants the guy – I want the best finish I can get every day. Now, you're more likely, you know what? I've already got to win. I'm not tearing this car up for this spot race. You know what I mean? Every race is a playoff race in the long format because you can't afford this bad race. If you have a bad race, it puts you way down in the points, and you don't just get to win next week and jump up to here. Like, you got the pressures all year long. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've never got to go through that. We've done it a bunch, but like you don't like the pressure's all year, man. You get the slow climb through the points and you get up there, but now it's you brush off these bad races, and if you win, you're in next week, right? I know we're not sitting good in the points. I know if we win, we're in, and is that really deserving at that point?
Yeah, I think that I think the feeling for me is that I agree with you about the elimination. It's exciting. It's the rounds produce some wild moments. But I feel like we've neutered the regular season to where, just like for the drivers, it's okay to have an off day. It's almost gotten to that. It's almost bled into the audience, where or the broadcast and the audience and their experience isn't as critical. And so I don't. I mean, in other forms of sports that have playoffs, I can kind of idle through the regular season.
Yeah.
If I'm a die-hard Washington Commanders fan, I'm going to try to catch every game I can watch. But Major League Baseball, basketball, I see very little of the regular season. When my team makes the playoffs, I might, then I'm plugged in. And so I feel like that we need to find a way to make the regular season have the same amount of pressure and urgency that the playoffs carry today, and where like your win would be important, but it wouldn't. But a bad run next week would still be concerning.
Right. I think with that, like, say the Commanders have a great season, they're going to sit out maybe their starters going into the playoffs, knowing that they got the divisional title locked up. And as a sports fan, I remember when the Colts. I'm a Colts fan, big Colts fan, and I remember when the Colts were like on an undefeated season run with Peyton Manning, and they decided to sit him out for some schmuck, and like we ended up getting beaten the first game of the playoffs, and it was over.
Yeah.
And I remember how like disappointed I was. I mean, it's like basically a first round exit after Bristol. Like it's just all this build up, and we saved all this for now, and it sucks. So I agree. Like there's probably, and I don't necessarily have the answer on what it would be, or spend too much time thinking. I kind of think about it like your question with speedway racing. How do we fix it? I'm like, I'm a competitor. I haven't worried about fixing. I've worried about the game. So I think the incentives for running well are they're currently in place. Like we have playoff points. Regular season points do matter for those that are in the playoffs. I mean, that's a point per spot, regular season points. So, it's 15 to win the whole thing. That's a lot. That's 3 race wins. So I think the incentives are there. It's just, are the incentives not high enough? I think, or maybe, could you incentivize it in different ways? Because, yes, to your point, I do now have a softer landing if I have a bad day at Texas or at Charlotte or somewhere else. Like if I have a bad day, I have a softer landing. But I feel like me mentally, my pressure is now different, than maybe somebody else that isn't locked in at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I appreciate you giving us some time today. Thanks again for coming in.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on the win. Talladega, dude, winning there is awesome. I know it is. I know you enjoy that, and we wish you all the success going forward.
Yep. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, everybody, you want the latest Dale Jr. download apparel? Visit shop.dirtymomedia.com. We're always adding new stuff all the time, especially like when we say something silly on this show. We'll put it on a t-shirt. Again, check it out at shop.dirtymomedia.com. All right, y'all, before we get to Ask Junior, it's time for this month's selection of our Ultimate Racing Collector, presented by Lionel Racing, the official diecast of NASCAR. Lionel Racing is your go-to source for all your racing diecast needs. Check out the latest pre-orders at lionelracing.com. And the winner of this month is Big Dan on Twitter. Big Dan, that's
Big Dan.
Big Dan, that's it.
Yep, Big
All
Dan.
right. Well, hey, look at this room.
Big Dan's got it going.
Holy He's got some helmets, suits, full suits.
Jukebox.
Oh, man, everything's in beautiful cases. Crew uniforms. Look at the bar. I love that.
Yeah.
It's not hard to tell who his favorite driver is it?
Well, he loves the number 2 Miller Lite
Rusty.
Ford. I believe it's Rusty Wallace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at that jukebox right in the middle.
Got him a jukebox. This is an awesome man cave.
It is.
Big Dan, you're doing a hell of a job there, brother. I'd love to come in there and drink some beers.
He said
Got
he
a
has
little game cast.
Oh, look at the game thing in the middle there.
That's what I'm saying. Little multicade.
Wow.
Little multicade arcade down there. You got
It's true 2 fan.
Yeah. Got all of that. You got several die casts. Lava lamp. Got to have that. There's a couple of helmets autographed.
He's got a lot of helmets.
Yeah, loads of autographed helmets. Neons and lights. You got to love it. There's a little,
Little TV.
Yep. Got a couple of cars. Those are probably like
Dang.
pool
Look at that
table
blanket.
lights.
Oh, it's a blanket of shirts.
Yep.
All Rusty shirts.
Took a bunch of T-shirts from Rusty and made a blanket. Damn it. And the jukebox. It's badass. Let's get I'm hoping we can get to the bar. He's probably not going to show us the bar, but that would be cool. Yep, we're not headed to the bar.
Oh, no. Maybe.
Nope. Damn it. Here's Rusty. There's Rusty. He's got a lot of Rusty Wallace. He needs to go. Rusty needs to take his fool to Cabo. Rusty's got a house in Cabo.
He does. They vacation there a lot.
Needs to take Big Dan to Cabo once.
Are we getting near the bar?
Yep, we're at the bar. There it is. Oh, we got another multicade on the bar top. I love it. And
he's stocked up.
he is.
Got plastic cups, Rusty cups.
He even had a rusty
lot of Crown.
Easy.
Look at this
Oh, wow.
liquor collection. Oh, a lot of autographed Rusty Wallace liquor bottles and moonshines and all types of stuff. There's my High Rock. I saw some High Rock vodka in there. All right. Big Dan, you are doing it.
There's a lot going on here.
Damn right, dude. Oh, it's a tight little
It
spot,
is.
but I love it.
I know,
I was
man.
like, hey, man, that's all you need.
Great tour.
That's all you need for a man cave and a bar.
Yeah.
You don't want too many in there. Just a couple of bar stools just for my friends. Everyone else is going to have to stand. I want to hear the music. I bet it plays good and loud.
I know. I wonder what he plays.
God almighty. That is awesome. Good job. Big Dan, appreciate you sending that in. a very deserving winner of this month's Ultimate Racing Collector. Now y'all see what we're doing. Now let's see who can bring the competition to Big Dan. He's on top right now.
Look at that cable management.
Big Dan's on top. Who can take him down? Send in all of your photos as we continue each month. We're going to select a new winner for the Ultimate Racing Collector presented by Lionel Racing, the official diecast of NASCAR. Damn, that was good.
That's an awesome one.
It's going to be hard to beat.
Really
It's going to be hard to beat that one. Big Dan goes into the Hall of Fame. He's still got a couple years left of his playing career, but we're going to plug him in the Hall of Fame already.
Yeah, he's
that
nominated.
good. NASCAR fans, you know booming speeds when you see it. And Xfinity Wi-Fi, well, it's booming like the roar of a NASCAR engine on race day.
Booming.
It's as fast as a V8 engine and as reliable as an elite pit crew. Xfinity Wi-Fi gives you the power and the speed of NASCAR in your home. Choose the right plan for you, and you're off to the races with the latest streaming experiences for NASCAR and all of your favorite sports. Because Xfinity Wi-Fi, it's booming, bud. Don't just raise the bar. They stream in overdrive. Xfinity, the proud premier partner of NASCAR. And you know what else is cool about Xfinity? Their Wi-Fi service. They'll upgrade that man, just for free. It's cool. Sometimes, like I'm a customer, and I'm an anonymous customer, right? So they're not just doing to me as a favor. But I'll get an email, and I got an email saved in my phone to remember when I go back to this house where I have this Xfinity Wi-Fi. They want to upgrade some hardware to give me faster speeds for free. And that's just a customer service deal. That ain't no special favor. So I like that. Like, cause I've been in the Wi-Fi game a long time, man. I've been in the internet game for a while. You have too. Remember remember T1 lines and all that stuff?
First guy to ever have a T1 in his house.
Yeah. So, as speeds increase, you don't have to increase the price of your plan. They just give you the speed for free. Hey, man, we got faster speeds. We're just going to we're just going to charge you the same for faster. I love that. I got off on a tangent there about that.
Hey.
And I've got a lot of blank stares from the folks in the booth over here, Andrew and Travis. Andrew's back.
It's good to be back. It's good to see you, Dale.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
TJ.
Not so
Hello.
much.
Good to see you, Andrew.
Not as much.
All right. Let's get to some questions. I want to pull my stuff up here.
Yeah, pull the chat up.
Yeah.
There are a lot. I'm seeing a lot of our regulars in the chat, which is great to see. Bev, Pamela, Daryl.
Did everybody watch
typing
wrestling
in from
last night?
Alaska? Huh?
Did anybody on the chat watch wrestling last night? Did you see Mr. Blaney?
Oh yeah, and he was wearing a Steve Austin shirt, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Not chugging a
pretty cool.
beer.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they put him on the screen, announced him. He stood up, showed everybody his Steve Austin shirt, which, I mean, absolutely awesome to see. Steve Austin's the man, right? So,
yeah.
But he drank a beer. He drank a swig of beer, as Steve Austin would say. Anytime you're put on a big screen at a sporting event and you're holding a beer, I think it's a must that you finish it.
That's a lot of pressure.
I can understand where you may feel that. I can understand why, Andrew, you yourself would feel the pressure.
Open the door for that.
But I'm just letting you know, if that ever happens to you in your life, I think that's kind of the expectation.
Has that happened to you? Have you been on a big screen and you've been forced to chug a beer?
If I was holding a beer, I felt like
Has that happened though?
I don't know. A lot's happened to me in my life, but I think my first thought would be, I guess I got to drink this beer, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
100%.
It's like a natural, instinctual thing. You're like,
the entire place is cheering you on.
Yeah, you're like, I mean, what else are you?
What are you doing, Andrew?
What are you just? Hey.
That's what he's gonna do.
Thanks for acknowledging me.
That's what he's gonna
I'm
do.
just waving.
He's just gonna.
I'm waving to the people.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, everybody.
What do you do? Thanks.
All right. We've got a bunch of questions. This first one's coming from Tyler, and I don't think you guys have talked about this yet today on the Dirty Air Show, but what did you guys think of Ross Chastain's moves on Sunday?
The Ross Chastain move Should he be black flagged? Is that coming directly from you, Travis?
No, I'm asking the
Is
question.
there a real conversation?
Denny Hamlin on Action Detrimental asked about it. So
Here we go.
Here comes the Denny, bro.
Here comes the Denny.
But did I say he should be black flagged? No, I'm presenting what a Cup driver of 56 wins is saying.
Oh, what are you cooking tonight for dinner?
Andrew's loving that.
So wait, so if a driver says something, I shouldn't take it and bring it on this show?
No, I'm messing with you, man. TJ's messing with you. TJ's not messing. He's serious.
I'm taking him to McDonald's.
I'm just kidding, but not really.
Dude, we can't be black flagging drivers for swerving or blocking. And
I know.
yeah,
It's literally part of
it
That's
is.
how you race at
Yes.
Talladega.
Like, I mean, you're everybody's gonna be like, is this okay? If I just move over, is that all right?
this is an F1.
It's not. This is talked about too. Like it's a strategy to block, to spread everybody out, so the pack just doesn't roll by.
You guys think that I agree with Denny here?
I love
I
how
know you agree with
I
that.
don't though.
I
Yeah,
love
that's a
how.
lie.
Listen, what Chastain did was absolutely reckless as hell. But it's
scary.
but yeah, it's reckless as but it's kind of like if he has the obligation or the right to make that move if it wrecks the field, he's the and everybody will be disappointed and upset with him.
He's
right?
done it before.
I'm just saying, but he has that obligation, prerogative, to make that move and not be there should be no conversation of a penalty, and if he wants to drive that way or anybody wants to drive that way, right? That he'll suffer the consequences of public opinion and his reputation if it were to create a problem, right? It didn't. Everybody
It's risky for him,
It's
too.
risky for him too. Yeah, for sure. Dude, I mean, I remember when we would go out and practice, and guys would do that in practice.
Yeah.
Like we would be coming, big train. We're out there, practice just gets started 5 minutes in. We're about 8 or 10 of us hauling ass down the back straightaway at Daytona, and somebody pulls out and they will drive across the racetrack to block the line
Yeah.
of cars going 10, 20 mile an hour faster, thinking we're all going to go, oh, yeah, you want to lead the line here. We'll just slow
That's
down.
how we wrecked our pole-winning car.
Yeah.
Robbie Gordon pulled
yeah.
up in front of the pack.
Yeah.
We checked up, and the guy behind us didn't.
Kenny Wallace did that one time. Come across the racetrack to try to jump in front of the pack in practice at Daytona. I was like, holy shit. Like it just practice. But I mean, it's his. He can there to think, like to even think that should be something considered a penalty is wild to me.
Yeah, Travis.
Yeah, Travis.
I didn't say
that
it.
would be a dangerous precedent, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
If we start penalizing because of blocks.
Oh.
But what? So
How do I say this? All right. How do I say this? Right? Do I like what he did? No. If I'm in Denny's car, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not a racer, I'm not driving no more. I'm just watching. Do I want a couple guys out there that are that crazy? Yes.
Do you want to be behind him?
I mean,
No.
if they're not out there, then what are we doing? Right? We're just going to watch them run around and 2 by 2 for the whole damn race. We need somebody. We need a couple guys out there, like a Hocevar and so forth, that are willing to, be a little risky.
See, I'm okay with what he did. My issue is be like this all the time, but don't then when Carson does something act like you're the garden of perfect driving. Like
That's
guardian
what's
of it.
great
Like,
about it. All right, so he's having, you're talking about Chastain chastising
yeah. Hocevar.
Hocevar on the front straightaway at Atlanta after that race.
Yeah.
And then he goes out there and he does what he does. It's awesome.
See, I want Ross to race like this all the time.
I do too, every lap.
I know people that don't.
And if he wants to get out and judge a driver who does the same thing, even better for all of us.
Yeah.
That's where I don't.
And when they confront him, it gets
I
even
like
better.
that you are bothered by that. I probably am too. But if he doesn't do it, I'm bored. Like if he doesn't do those type of things and he doesn't want to tell Hocevar to drive differently, then what are we going to talk about on the show?
I look at it as like a 4th and 1 coach call. If it works, you look brilliant. If it doesn't,
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, is it frowned upon? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is. But should we put guardrails in place to keep them from doing it? No.
I agree. Denny's wrong.
Good deal.
Oh, Whoa.
There's the sound.
There's a shirt.
Yep. He's gonna
There's the shirt. Yeah.
when this comes out later tonight, he's getting that text, don't come over.
Yeah.
Don't come over tonight.
I'm cooking my own dinner.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right. This next question is coming from the YouTube chat. OG Rocker wants to know how the Swans are doing.
Swans are doing good.
Yeah.
We had 2 geese come in. So we feed the swans some chicken feed out of this little silver dog dish. There's a lot of algae in the pond that they can eat as well. They're really self-sufficient. They don't really need us to feed them just yet, but once they clean the pond up, we might have to kind of have a little secondary option for them to feed. And so these geese came in, and then the geese left after they ate all the food, and then 8 more, those geese and 6 more geese came back. Like the geese were like, hey, they got this food over here, you guys over at the other lake, come over this way, and or the other pond. The geese are just here for a temporary time as they're flying north for the summer. But we
Little community you got over there.
yeah, it's pretty neat.
That is awesome.
So I was worried about them being lonely down there because it's in this bottom, and there's trees surrounding probably 3/4 of the pond,
Water moccasins.
and so it's I don't know. I was just kind of thinking that they down there by themselves, are they gonna like that? But they're getting some visitors. That's kind of nice.
Okay, so Cletus gave you the geese. This is a good transition
All right.
to, let's see. Billy wanted to know, what did you think of Cletus's ARCA run? And I even saw, I think, a tweet out there. Martha in Miami said that the burnout strips were still on the
I
back
know.
straightaway.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I didn't even think about that. I was unable to watch some of the Cup race because I was flying to Vegas for an appearance for High Rock. Me and High Rock and Texas Roadhouse have gotten together, and we have a drink on the menu. It's called the Dale
Oh, that's awesome.
It is. If you like creamsicle, it's going to be like a creamsicle vibe. You can go to Texas Roadhouse and order this drink, and it's freaking awesome. So we went out to Texas Roadhouse, had a big party in Vegas, and we went out there to serve some of these drinks to a lot of the owners and so forth of the Texas Roadhouses all over the country. And so if you go to Texas Roadhouse, check out the Delia. Anyways, I didn't get to watch the Cup race that much, but I saw somebody tweeting about those, and I said, hey, first off, I was asking people, describe the race. What are you seeing? How does it look? Because I was seeing comments, and I'm like, I don't want to be all judgy. I'm not even watching this. I can't even see it. I don't want to sit here and complain and go, oh, the racing sucks, and I'm not even seeing it.
Didn't Blaney respond like it's not
Yes,
going good?
I didn't have fun.
Yeah.
But
TJ too.
yeah, but
I
somebody
did
said
not have fun.
somebody
Confirmed.
said they saw the burnout, so I asked them to take a screenshot, and we got a lot of great screenshots of the.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so that's pretty neat. But I watched some of the ARCA race. I saw Cletus immediately have the engine issue, and his car lost power, and some people were, he started losing track position, and I guess they didn't get that fixed. I think
he was down a cylinder the rest
No,
of
he
the
could
race.
hang on. He
Yeah.
could hang on to the pack at the end. He
Yep.
couldn't make a move, but he could hang on.
Yeah, and he just dodged all the crashes at that point. Smart play. Me and him talked about it a little bit, and I thought, look, when he realized he's young, super green, right? Super duper green, like as green as you could be, and when your car's not running good, the last thing you want to do is drive it into a crash. While he's racing, he's also trying to create content and create moments, right? So it's important for him to have a entertaining show. He wants to get out there and do badass things and make people watching the stream feel like they're being entertained. So that's hard to do when his car's not running right. And I thought, okay, is he going to get careless because he's trying to create YouTube content?
Mm-hmm.
Or does he go into driver mode and go, hey, just get this thing to the house. We're down a cylinder. Let's dodge the crashes. Let's not tear our car up worse. And so I thought it was good to see him sort of make the good judgment calls to just get the car home, right? Don't make the bad day worse by feeling the pressure of the viewing audience that he feels that pressure every time he releases a video, right?
Yeah.
to get millions and millions of views, right? He's
you got to give him something.
He's got to be switched on every day and be able to pump out content, and it's always got to be great.
Mm-hmm.
So while he looks like he's having a blast, and he is, he's also under a lot of pressure. So I was wondering how that would happen, but he did a great job, got it home, and can't wait to see him go to Bristol now. That's going to be different. But he's raced Bristol. Yeah. He's raced Bristol in the Crown Vic and when it was dirt and so forth. So it's not going to be completely unfamiliar to him, but it'll be different.
It's going to be quite different from Talladega and Daytona.
Look, I agree. It's going to be different.
We're looking forward to it. I'm seeing a lot of bald eagle emojis in the YouTube chat and a few swans. So it's good to see everyone tuning in. Travis is pointing at his phone, which has the save the date for JRM Fan Day. By the way, everyone listening.
What day is that?
May 22nd.
All right, May
2025 this year. So. Come check it out. We're going to have a lot going on.
Today is my, speaking of dates, today is my dad's birthday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tomorrow is Isla's birthday.
Wow, yeah.
May 3rd, May 3rd, the car store's at Ace Racing. So I know those dates.
That's awesome.
Yep.
There have been, I've seen a few
Mother's Day's
happy
coming
birthdays to your dad.
Mother's Day's coming up. Everybody better have their together. I got mine together.
Do you?
Yes, sir.
Good.
I'm ready.
Do you have it ready? You've worked out the girls?
We're good. We're good for Mother's Day. She's going to be happy.
All right.
Just letting everybody know out there, all the guys.
The heads up that it's coming. Yep. A few weeks away.
Mother's Day's coming.
Good. All right, well, I'm getting the wrap signal.
Damn, that's it.
This was a fun match, Junior. One more?
Yeah.
You want to do one more?
One more.
Dale wants one more.
Fun.
Okay, this one's from Lee. What's the strangest thing you've bought with your race winnings?
So, way back in the day, I lived in a double-wide trailer. My roommate was Josh Schneider. A great friend of mine, and we did not. I had a big screen tube television, big screen tube, heavy TV, and I had to take it to the guy in Kannapolis multiple times to get it fixed because it kept breaking. This thing was originally from our lake house that Dad had bought this thing back in the early 90s or late 80s. It was old.
Yeah.
And when I won, I got a $2,000. I got about a $4,000 check from a race way back around 97, 98. And me and Josh went to Duke Power to pay our power bill. Mm-hmm. We were behind about 3 months.
Oh, God.
And I was broke.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of money. And so, I mean, it wasn't like Dad was like, here's your credit card here.
Right.
And so I bought a DirecTV satellite back when those things were like a freaking $1,000, right? It's crazy. And I was like, Dad was like, you should get a satellite for your trailer. And I was like, I can't afford that. And he's like, I'll help you with it. And I said, all right, how much? And he goes, I'll help you with half. Well, when I bought it, I came to collect, and he had changed his mind. Isn't that nice? So, I mean, that's kind of how the money situation was with Dad. But anyways, I won this race or got paid for doing something, and we went to pay our delinquent power bill. And when we turned around to walk out of the Duke Power, they had this big entertainment system. So they had a brand new tube, big screen TV, still in the tube TV days. They didn't have flat screens back then. So they had big screen TV, and then this big wooden entertainment, big wooden
massive
back thing. We had the build, and I was like, "It's $2,000."
Oh.
I looked at Josh and I said, "Dude, we got like a lot left over here. What do you think?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And man, we run home to put that thing together. We threw that thing together, and man, we had in our double wide trailer. We had the badass entertainment system.
That is awesome.
It was awesome. We used to have all kinds of parties there. So fun.
Well, good.
Yep.
Good deal. That was a fun one today.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, Xfinity. Appreciate you the support they give us here. Customers with Xfinity Mobile get exclusive access to the most powerful Wi-Fi network on the go with speeds up to a gig. NASCAR fans, that's important for you because that means faster downloads for turn-by-turn action, smooth live streaming with fewer pit stops, and a strong connection from the parking lot to the grandstands. So for more laps and less lag, stay connected with Xfinity Mobile. Thank you, Xfinity, for supporting us here. They do a great job. Great partner. Dirty Modo is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel kicks ass. That should just be their slogan.
It should.
Right? I mean, everybody gets that, right?
Yeah.
Everybody understands what that means.
Is that like the old Winamp thing? Whenever you used to fire it up,
Yeah.
it really kicks the llama's ass.
They're the premier gaming destination in the United States. And we've had a lot of fun on there. I've been taking it easy here lately. I haven't.
I've been on a run.
You've been on a run. I didn't intentionally do this, but I haven't probably made a bet in a couple weeks. But that's good.
It is.
It is. Yeah, it's casual. It's fun.
The player to score in the first 3 minutes has been one of the things I've been on.
Did you had a Steph Curry last night?
Steph didn't hit, but I did throw
I'm
one.
glad I didn't follow you. You kept texting us to
He
follow
did.
that bet.
The bet was the right move. I also threw money down on Draymond. He hit it. And then there
On
was
technicals or what?
No, he hit in 3 to start the game, so his cashed. And then I bet that both teams would score in the first minute.
I don't remember seeing any of those. You just
Those
told
were
the loser.
those were last
He
minute.
didn't share those.
No.
Those were last minute bets.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He was impulse.
There has
betting.
been a very
There's
been a very big issue here lately with the lack of sharing amongst this group on bets we're making.
We've all been guilty.
Yep, and we need to fix that
Yeah, we do.
because there's no shame, no judgment. I think that there's a hesitation of getting your friends to follow your bet and it losing, right?
Yeah, for
Especially
sure.
if you've been on.
But
Also,
at least give us that choice.
I know.
that's a good
We
point.
all
That's a good
got to
point.
do a better job.
the other one I think too is sometimes you're on a little heater and you're like,
Get that out of here. If you're on a heater, you got to really.
no, but
that's
sometimes
even more
you're
reason
like,
to
you're
share.
like, I don't. You're afraid that if you speak it out into existence,
I mean, that's
Nobody
when,
thinks like that.
No, that's when you put the info out there. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm on a roll here.
Hey
This is what
guys,
I'm
I've been doing good with this.
Yeah.
You might want to get
Now
on
I
this
feel-
train.
Now I feel confident
Yeah.
to share.
okay.
So you're either not confident enough to share, then you're too confident to share.
What are we more
There's
like? Hey
like-
guys, I've been missing everything. You should bet this.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
All right.
I'm gonna
I'll be better.
I'm gonna sit down this week and get back on no runs in the inning on some Major League games. We had a couple of bets, and I'm trying to remember mine. I had a Byron, Stenhouse, and Priest, or no, Eric Jones, maybe.
I liked Eric Jones. Yeah, you told me I was
I
stupid.
had a couple in the top 10.
For the record, you didn't have me throw them out there for people. You didn't
Right.
bet them.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but I still in my mind like to think that I bet that bet. But what was it? It was Byron
Byron for sure.
and Priest for sure.
And
Was it
Stenhouse
Stenhouse
too, yeah.
So where did they finish?
Well, Priest
Well,
got DQ'd.
Priest
so.
got DQ'd.
Yeah.
but they don't honor. Are they?
Well, it depends on the book.
Depends, yeah.
The book doesn't. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to say that bet cashed. Okay. Byron cashed at top 10.
Top 10, yep. He finished
Stenhouse.
4th. Stenhouse did not.
Damn it.
No.
So I was going to parlay them. So
You would've
my
lost.
bet would have failed.
Which
But
is
we
why
also had I think we had like a Austin Hill or Jesse Love in the Xfinity race, which
Yeah.
was
I was pretty high on Jesse
yeah.
because I figured they were gonna lose the appeal, and which they did, and I thought he'd come out swinging, and he
Yeah.
did.
He did.
He was
That's right.
swinging
He
hard.
was right there.
Yeah.
We also hit the drivers on the lead lap over 25.5. So
Ooh.
that was big.
Yeah, there wasn't really a big
big
one
one.
this time.
No.
That was not a big one.
No. Which, I mean, early on, those like 2-3 car crashes, they were knocking out like flies.
You
but
really need the big one to hit some of them.
I'm good if there's not a big one.
Oh, I am too.
I was fine
but
with that, yeah.
That hurts the long shot guys.
It does.
It does. Well, I thought it was maybe weird that there wasn't like a third lane developing at the end. That's kind of what I thought. Like some guys would jump out if they're a long shot guy to go out.
When they run wide open hard, this
two
car
lanes.
is 2 lanes and that's it.
Yeah.
There'll never be a third lane.
yeah.
Well, would you call it a success or a failure for your?
I would call it a success. Yeah. Yeah. I don't bet a
Good.
ton on
Did you
Talladega.
have any live
but-
betting?
No, I would never bet live at Talladega.
All right. Well, heading into Texas this weekend, the betting favorites are Larson at plus 550, Byron at plus 600, Reddick, Hamlin, Bell all north of 750. How about any of these drivers for a pre-race bet?
I don't know about pre-race bet. I'd like to see how they qualify because you'll get probably a better number if they don't qualify in the top 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like William Byron. He's statistically the best driver in next gen at this track.
Feels like he's due.
Yeah, and
Right.
he's so consistent this year. Him and I think Larson are like 1 and 2 in finishes and everything like that. So he's definitely my favorite. I think Hamlin and Reddick will do well, but I wouldn't touch him at this price.
Oh,
No, Ross Chastain. He's 28 to 1 plus 2,800 to win. I kind of like throwing a little bit on that.
What about like Kyle? What's he?
He is plus 2,000.
Wow.
But not good next-gen numbers at Texas.
Yeah, but
there's only 3 starts, but it's a small sample size.
My long shot here would be going on a limb here, Josh Berry and Chase Briscoe.
Yes, I had Chase Briscoe written down too. So how much do you take Las Vegas, which is the only other true mile and a half we've been to?
I'm not even thinking about that at all.
No.
I just know that I feel like Truex would run good at Texas. I feel like they have fast cars there, and I feel like Chase has an opportunity to put together a good race. He'll be competitive as well.
Yeah, he's ran good in the past in the 14 car, so I wrote him down too. He's plus 1,800 to win. A couple guys top 10s. I like Chastain. I like Brad too. He hasn't obviously ran great this year. A lot of misfortune.
We've hit everything we can
TJ's
hit.
back.
I know, yeah.
But
Yeah,
now
we've
you're
hit
back,
everything we
TJ.
can hit.
Now
so.
TJ's back.
You're going to catch him now with some really good value numbers-wise for like top 10s, maybe a win because he's been down. So this is a good chance to maybe get on him and see if he can get on a run.
Who's a dark horse? Give me some dark horse. Top 10 me a dark horse.
I like Austin Dillon. The one here before.
Oh, yeah.
Usually a good track for them in RCR.
There you go.
You mentioned Kyle, Austin Dillon. I think he's plus 25,000 to win.
If you're going to go with Austin Dillon, how do you not take Kyle or something with that?
No,
point?
I agree. You
know
would.
what I mean?
I think price-wise, if they're both going to be good,
Austin's
right? Austin's way better value than
All right,
Kyle
I like
is.
that.
Yeah.
Just a single bet.
Yeah.
Damn, that's nice. Let's go see how that cashes.
I think so.
All right. Appreciate you, Tampa Tims.
Appreciate you guys.
Dirty Modo, brought to you by FanDuel, the premier gaming destination in the United States. Thank you, Safety Culture, for bringing us this episode of the Dale Jr. Download. Remember, from the racetrack to the factory floor, Safety Culture is the workplace operations tool that gives companies what they need to get the job done quicker and improve every day. All right, the teardown was live after the race on Sunday on Twitter and YouTube. Jeff Gluck was on his soapbox raising hell. Yep. He's pissed at the team owners about saving money, but now Denny's come out with some words about how much this costs. Wonder what Jeff thinks now.
Door Clear dropped Monday. Kyle Busch joined the show. Very strong comments on how he ran over Brad getting to pit road and the All-Star race. You don't want to miss this one.
Yeah, I'm sure Kyle gave us a lot of information on what he thought about the restrictor plate racing at Talladega.
Drafting.
Yeah, restrictor plate racing. Plate racing. If
Plate
you want to shorten
racing.
it up just a little bit. You can't do that with drafting. Yeah. Actions detrimental with Denny Hamlin, as we talked about a lot in the show, dropped on Monday. Denny's doing a great job giving us all kinds of great information. Really dissects or describes how their hands are all tied out there trying to race this next gen around Daytona and Talladega. My interview with Brad Means will come out tomorrow. Brad is Jimmy Means' son. Jimmy Means was independent in NASCAR years ago, and me and Brad became best friends, grew up together at the racetrack. Going to have a lot of fun stories about us as kids. I'm excited to have him come in here and share that with us. Again, that drops on Wednesday, along with Herman Schrader and Speed Street. Connor Daly making some great content around the IndyCar series as they're ramping up their
Month
efforts.
of May.
Yeah, their efforts to get the Indy 500 going.
On Thursday, Bless Your Heart comes out. You're having a lot of fun doing that, and you're coming out with a drink of the week.
Yeah, we've got a new partnership with High Rock, our vodka with Bless Your Heart, so we're doing a drink of the week. And last week's wasn't one of my favorites, but we had a pretty good one. I mean, some of them are going to be different that I don't really enjoy, but
Others might.
Others might. Amy's a big fan of all the ones that we got on. It's Amy's show, so I'm kind of letting her have it, and letting her choose the drinks. So we'll see. We'll see what we like. Lastly, this is something extremely important, folks. And if you're still with us this late in the show, thank you. The Red Bull Soapbox Race show. It's a TV show. Mike Bagley and myself are the analyst and broadcast team for the new Red Bull Soapbox Race show. It's on Discovery. It's out today. I hope you'll support this. All across the world, this Red Bull Soapbox Race goes to all these amazing cities. And everyone in that area or that country has the opportunity to build their soapbox and come out and compete. And they have to have a theme. They're incredible. Their creativity is through the roof. And then there's all kinds of challenges on the course, and they usually crash in spectacular fashion. It's a fun fun show to do. I was thrilled to be able to be asked to participate, and I was grateful to work with Mike Bagley. And I think he brings a lot of great energy to the show. Hopefully you'll support it, watch it, tell us what you think. And, I can't wait to see the feedback, because that was something a bit out of the box, something somewhere that I probably didn't think I'd ever be.
I agree.
Was handling the broadcasting analyst duties on the Red Bull Soapbox race. So much fun. We
Would
had a
you
blast.
do it?
Oh, hell yes. Like, I've watched these on YouTube.
I have to.
They've been going on forever, and they're hilarious. And they've done a great job with this. This isn't a new thing. But I was thankful to kind of bring the content to our American audience on Discovery. And I hope that we get to do a season 2. I would love to go and compete. But
try it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I'd love to build or send I'd love to build out and send
something
down the strip. I'd
Yeah.
like for you to drive it, actually.
I would like to build something and you
But
drive
there's
it.
2 drivers sometimes.
Oh, boy.
Sometimes there's 1, sometimes there's 2. Passenger riding along.
Navigator.
Well, that's the show. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure you did. I thought it was great. I'm confident that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. Good show.
If
good
you
content.
say you didn't enjoy it, you're lying.
You had some good ideas.
I just think you're telling a lie.
You had some good ideas
Yeah.
and some bad ones. But
I thought you did a great job.
thanks. You did a great job.
All right. See you tomorrow.
All right. See ya.